Welcome back to episode number 5 in our Flotsam series, everybody. We are working on setting up some production. The thing we're going to focus on today is there's two things. One, we're going to keep working on research. So right now we're researching our fish washer, which builds a building that cleans and preps fish into various ingredients, reducing pollution, which will help us get our drifters to the point where they're not getting polluted and getting sick. But the main thing we're focusing on today is getting our production set up using production limits. So when you have production, you can set some of our buildings produce things infinitely. You don't have to set it; they just keep making it, and it's like takes a ingredient like wet wood and turns it into something used. Seaweed grower is also something like that. The spores have no use except for growing into seaweed, so if we have them, it automatically plants them and grows them. That's how those producers work. Then we have producers such as our tool maker, where we can queue up tools, or we can set it to auto queue. Well, if you set it to infinite auto queue, it will continue to produce it as long as you have the ingredients, but you can end up making so much that you run out of the rest of the resources, and you fill your storage with certain things. So, like an example is we have 88 wooden planks. So our production over here would continue producing wooden planks until our storage was full of it and we were out of wood. So what we do, under producer management, we went to wooden planks and we set it to 50. Now we can change that more or less depending on what we need it to be. And so now, instead of managing it at each of our producers, we set all of our producers to infinite, and then we manage what we produce. So I've set our tools to produce until we have 15, which means they're still in production. I set our seaweed salads to 20, which means it's still in production. But then our planks are set to 50, and since we have 88, that means that they've stopped producing. And rope I have set a little bit lower because we don't use it as often, but it's at 16 now, so it's still producing. Make sense? So that way, instead of managing each of these individually, we just go in here, and if something is getting produced too much or not enough, we adjust it here. And that's how we control what gets produced. So right now, we're working on getting enough tools to salvage this place to get a bunch of trees. And then the other thing that we're working on is I want to build a scrapsmith so that we can turn metal scrap into metal plate. Because right now we have a need for metal plates. We have 9 metal scrap. So we just need this building in order to do it. So we're just waiting on plastic to get produced. Plastic is being produced from using plastic waste. And if we look here, plastic waste is made from taking our fish and unbottling it. So we have 2 of our drifters catching fish. The fish are then unbottled and we get plastic waste, which is then taken from here and used over here to make plastic that we can use. And it'll continue to do that until we have 50 plastic. In order to increase our plastic production, I am using the recycler. The recycler takes goods and turns them into dry wood and plastic waste. Now the goods, the only thing that we use the goods in this form, the refined goods, is to build, or at least right now, is to build beds. Well, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to build one more bed so we have it. That'll give us 2 extra ones. And then I'm comfortable with turning all of our goods into plastic. So I just have it set infinite. I do have it set that we stop production on plastic waste once we get to 20. I don't know if that's going to mess anything up. We're going to let it go for now and see what happens. Hoping to get our plastic floaters produced a bit more, because there's several things I want to build using plastic. I want to build our scrapsmith, like we talked about. I also want to build a fishing boat, which means we need the metal from that. And then there's some more food-related items that we need some plastic for that we don't have yet. So just different things I want to build, but plastic production is what is slowing us down right now. So I did a bunch of work to increase the plastic production because I wanted to build a scrapsmith. As soon as I built one and noticed what it looked like, I realized I have one over here. I just had never queued up scrap. So that's okay. We have that set up now. I'm just going to make it so that this makes scrap until we have 10 for now. Or metal plates, I mean, so we have 10. I don't think I have enough scrap to do that. I don't think the metal scrap is renewable. I think I have to get it from different areas, like different islands, and process it into metal plates. But the metal plates will let us do several things. One is building a new fishing boat, and another is building our fish kebab. For now, I want to build a desalinator. And from what I understand, this is going to produce a lot more water, but it requires firewood, which is not a problem. I have a lot of that. So I just want to try it out, and then assuming that it works, like I think it's going to work, we'll be able to remove some of the solar stills. Or we may just leave them there for now until we need space to build things or resources to build, because having extra water is not going to hurt anything. We are running low on food. This seaweed grower is not working the way I thought it would. I thought that as we grow seaweed, we would get more spores, and this would make our seaweed renewable. It doesn't. We do get more seaweed from the spores, so that we have more ways to get seaweed, but we run out of spores eventually, which is what happened. And so now we need to continue to go and look for more in order to grow more seaweed, which is kind of a shame. I think it should be a system where it's like a farm where you get more seeds back so that you can keep replanting. But they could make it so that it takes longer or something to make it more balanced. We'll see if they ever change that in later versions. But for now, this is just going to be something where when we get spores from seaweed patches, we can get more seaweed out of it, getting a higher yield from the patch, which means we're still going to have to explore for more seaweed. Okay, so let's do infinite on this. So it gets fresh water from firewood. So basically this is like a still where you put in the salt water, but instead of using the solar power, the sun, to slowly turn it into water, this can turn it into water very quickly using firewood. And so what we're going to do is make it so that fresh water, let's just make a production limit of 50 on this for now, so that we don't end up burning through all of our firewood. And we'll just go from there. Looks like we already have 2 metal plates. We're going to wait for one more so we can do our next production building, which is going to be our fish kebab, which takes our raw fish and cooks it into cooked fish. In order for us to have firewood for our scrapsmith and for our desalinator, we needed to build a chopping block, which we have set up to stop production at 20. So that'll be enough to supply everything. And again, these numbers are adjustable. We adjust them as we go, but for now, that's where I'm setting it. So basically, this chopping block takes our dry wood and it gets chopped into 2 pieces of firewood, which is used for fuel. And then we can produce the items we need. So looks like this one, we have enough to do one more, but then we're out of metal scrap. That's okay. That'll give us enough to get this item, but then we'll have to head out to do more salvage before we can build anything else using metal plates. We're still working on research. We've finished our fish washer, so that's something I want to get built here. And now we're working on the house research, which will allow us to make a house instead of just a bed. It'll allow us to make a storage yard that stores more, and it'll allow us to increase our drying rack up to a huge drying rack. which means we can get more wet wood into dry wood in a smaller space. Made a small change. I had my desalinator set to produce water till it got to 50, which meant that it would never hit that capacity because we don't have the storage for 50 water. So I turned it down to 25, which means it is now shut off. If you look at water, fresh water is at 19, so I'm not quite sure why it is shut off because I have it set to 25 and I only have 19. I wonder if it's because some of the solar cells are counting in that aren't actually in there, like the water that hasn't been moved into storage. Maybe that's an issue, but either way, it should kick these all back on as soon as our water production is high enough. Since we have 25 and our drifters use 1 fresh water a day, we should never have a problem with it. But we're going to keep an eye on that and see what happens. I now have the 3 metal scrap I need in order to build my fish kebab. So I'm going to put that over on this side. I wanted to have all the food production over here, but I'm just running out of space. I may reorganize things in the future, but for now I'm just going to build it because I want to get it going. All right, we have all the items there that we need for it, and we have a drifter over here building it. And then we're going to see how exactly the fish kebab works, what resources it uses, and get it set up. It's going to take us a few minutes to get it built, and then we will check that out. While we're waiting, let's look at our research. Our house research is almost finished, so we'll have to choose a new research in a minute. And a lot of our production has stopped because we're at a point where we have enough. Some of it has stopped because we don't have the resources coming in and we're waiting for more. Really, the biggest problem we have right now is drifters. We have more work than we have drifters, so I may focus coming up going and looking for islands where we can actually rescue survivors. And I'm not sure what they show up, if they show up on the map so you can see from overhead. We may have to just keep trying to see what we get. Now, I don't know what that symbol means. We'll probably go check that one out next. That might mean something. Still learning. Still learning. So let's go back to our town. The fish kebab is finished, so we can either do grilled gobbler, which uses an oil gobbler and firewood. We can do a grilled gobbler fillet, which uses a gobbler fillet and firewood, or we can use this one uses bloated flounder. So what do we get from this? We just get regular fish. So I'm not sure what am I missing here that I need to get the fish where I need them to be. I think I need a fish washer. I don't think I built that. So let's build that now. The fish washer is, it says it takes fish in and preps it into various ingredients. So we'll build it and then we will see what exactly we need in order to make different fish ingredients we need to make different food. We want to get to the point where we're making fish that have a lot less pollution. Right now we're making dried fish. Quality of the food is ordinary with pollution of 9. At the best here we can make yummy quality food with a pollution of 3. Much better. Our house research is done, and I decided that our next research is going to be in a watchtower, which will increase the visibility radius on the map. It should help us with our exploration that we're working on. House means that we finished the ability to do houses instead of bed, and the huge drying rack and the regular storage yard instead of the very little storage yards here. So let's first look here. These say we can upgrade, but we need goods to do it. So that's something we want to explore for. We also want to explore for places where we can get drifters. And okay, now we have our fish done, which means okay, this uses unbottled fish. So I want to first thing I want to do is our dried fish. Where do we have dried fish? Dried unbottled fish. We want to set this. I don't want to go too high with this. Let's just make this production limit of 5. And this is that all we're making here, right? We're making dried unbottled fish. Okay. The reason I want to do that is because now that I have this, I want to use the fish for other ingredients. If we do the fillet, we need to have a bloated flounder. We don't have that. We don't have the oil gobbler, but we do have the unbottled fish, which means we can make an unbottled fillet. Let's do that and see what happens with that. I have to figure out where we can get these other types of fish. Oil gobbler. Something different in our fishing chair? No, it's not there. It may be something with our fishing boat, which is the thing we're working on. That's probably where we get them. So we still need to get more metal plates to do that, which means I think it's time for us to head off. We still have more wood that we can salvage here, but I want to go and do some more exploration now. We'll come back for that later. So, take our boat. We're going to turn it. We're going to head up here towards this area. It said it was a church. Probably going to run out of power. That's okay. We should be in range now. And let's check out this building. Sometimes if you hit the scroll wheel by accident, it does that. Scout region. We need to have do it. And we'll see what it does. Oh, I see. It has that icon because that means when we scout it, we'll see farther because we have such a high place there. That makes sense. And then, what else do we have here? We have 2 more ruins here. We'll set that one to salvage. And this one we need tools to do it, which we should have. And then we can salvage. So we'll set those to go. Is there anything else here we can do? We have a ruins over here. Go back to the center. This direction from that boat, right? So this one is already salvaged, but this one, oh, and this one is too. I thought on the map it showed, oh, it does have a flag. I just let's go back up here. Is that last one in range of us? Sure is. Okay, so we now have all 4 of those ready to be salvaged, and in on our map, our drifters can continue with production, and we need to get an engineer up here to power up our grid. So drifters receive a task to generate power when the total energy to connect the grid falls below the energy threshold. That should really make it so that happens, but set this at 75. So we're going to let the production go. We're going to let our guys go and salvage all the things from the places that we have here. And in our next episode, we'll go out and we will work on focusing on getting more metal scraps so that we can make metal plates and hopefully some more drifters. But that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.